Hello, students. We're going to go over the review for our first quiz in Unit 0. So, our first question, write a positive or negative integer that represents the situation. Sam gained 5 yards running the football. Because it said gained, that tells me it's going to be positive, so I'm going to write 5. Okay, or that's the same as positive 5. But remember, we don't need to write the positive sign because 5 by itself is positive. All right, next one. The temperature is 5 degrees below 0. Below indicates that this should be a negative number, so I'm going to write the integer -5. Make sure you actually wrote a number here. All right. On number 3 and number 4, you need to plot the integer, -1, and its opposite, and here 4 and its opposite. So show intervals. Let's talk about that. A lot of students lose points because they don't show me the numbering on the number line. So make sure you do that. Then another way students lose points is they forget that when you graph a point on a number line, you need to do that with a filled in dot, okay, big fat dot. So I want to see a dot at 1 and at -1. So we graphed -1 and its opposite. Same thing over here. We're going to graph 4. So we go to 4, we make a dot, and then we go to the opposite of 4, and we make a dot, -4. All right, for 5 and 6, they want least to greatest. One way to do this is to put them on a number line. That's an easy way to put them in order. So let's put these in order. Okay, check your answers. Just like a number line, the negatives, the farther left, the bigger the number, but actually the less it's worth. But -9, then we count backwards, -4, and now we are in the positives 2, 3, 8. So check your answers. Make sure you wrote them least to greatest. Okay, number 7, we need to graph 1.5 and its opposite. So I did my intervals, and I actually counted by halves, and I just went half, 1, 1.5. And I'm going to put a dot at 1.5. That's 1.5. And the opposite will be right here, and that's -1.5. Make sure you use dots. Okay, number 8, it's -2.3. So I know this is -2, and -2.3 will be a little bit colder, so I'm going to estimate it right here. And that's fine. You can estimate if you number your intervals. So you could put a dot right there. And the opposite of -2.3 will be +2.3. So make sure you use a dot. All right, question 9, we need to compare these two values. Well, right away, I see I have a negative and a positive. So if I were to graph this, and this is 0, 0.4 would be here, and -0.5 would be here. So I know that a positive is always larger than a negative. So I would say that 2/5 is greater than -1/2. Okay, let's try number 10. I know that -1.5 is the same as -1.5, and 2/3 is the decimal 0.66. It's actually repeating. And so if I take these and put them on a number line, if I were to put this one on a number line, I'd be right here. And if I put this one on a number line, it would be here. So which one is closer to 0? Which one's a warmer temperature? And I would say this one, negative 1.5, is farther to the right on the number line, and it's a warmer temperature. Okay, absolute value. Absolute value means how far is this number from 0 on the number line. So if we had a number line, and here's 0, and here's 15, how far is it? Okay, the answer is, it is 15. It is 15 spots away. Same thing on number 12. On number 12, if I have negative 9, and here's 0, and I have negative 9, how many spots away would it be, okay, to get to 0? And the answer is 9. It would be 9 moves to get to 0. Remember, absolute value is distance, and it's always positive. So the answer to number 12 is 9. All right. Question 13. For questions 13 to 15, if you remember in class, I said the best strategy is to solve the absolute value before you answer the question. So before I do any of the inequalities, I'm going to solve this. What is the absolute value of negative 6? How far is that from 0 on a number line? And the answer is, it is 6. So I cross this off, I write 6. Now, what do I notice? I notice that they're equal. They are equal. Okay, let's try the next one. The absolute value of negative 6, I already did that, is 6. So I cross this off. What is larger, 6 or 0? And the alligator will eat the larger one. On number 15, we have 2 to solve, so let's do that. So the absolute value of negative 9 is 9, and the absolute value of 10 is 10 away from 0. But what's larger? 10. Okay. Number 16, one fish is 7 feet below sea level. The other fish is 9 feet below sea level. Write each position as an integer. Okay, so let's do this. 7 feet below. If I see the below, that tells me it's going to be negative. So that would be negative 7. You're supposed to write it right there. 9 feet below, again, I see below. Below 0 means it's negative. So that is going to be negative 9. The next question is write each, okay, I'm sorry, we did this. The next question is which integer is greater? In other words, which integer is closer to 0 or warmer as a temperature? And it would be negative 7. That one is a greater integer. Okay, so for 17, we need to write the ordered pair that corresponds to each point. So let's start. Point A. Remember, we start at the origin, and we walk over to the tree, which is 5, and we climb the tree, which is 6. So my answer would be written like this, 5, 6. You should be writing it on in the right-hand column. Okay, now let's do B. For B, I start at the origin, and I go backwards 5, negative 5, and up 5. So that would give me the ordered pair of negative 5 and then up positive 5. Okay, for C, we're going to start at the origin and go 2 backwards, negative 2, up 3. So that gives us negative 2, up 3. Make sure you do parentheses. For D, we're going to start at the origin and go backwards 2, so negative 2, but this time down to negative 2. So negative 2 and then down negative 2. Okay, and let's do E. We're going to walk to the hole and then go in the hole. So we're going to go over to 3 and down to negative 4. So we're going to go 3, -4. One more. Let's do F. I need to walk over to and then climb down the ladder and go down the hole to -6. So 2, -6. And our next question is, which point is located in quadrant 3? Well, we know that this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, and this is quadrant 3. So that must be D. That is the point. Okay. For 19 and 20, we need to plot the ordered pairs and then describe the location. And I bet a lot of you might have forgot to do this part. Okay. So first, let's plot the ordered pair. So I look at my ordered pair right here, and I see that H should be located at -3, 4. So remember, we're going to start at the origin, and my first number is -3, so I'm going to go backwards 3, and my second number tells me the height, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to put a dot right there. So let's do that. Put a dot right there and call it H. Then it says describe the location. Well, what quadrant is it? And it is in quadrant 2. Let's try another one. On this one, we have to estimate. So 2.5 and -0.5. So that means walk 2.5 to the right and go down, go negative, just a little bit, just a little down, just halfway down. So we're going to go right here, and we're going to call that K. And what quadrant is it in? Barely, but it's in quadrant 4. Okay, last question. A coal miner works 405 feet below the ground in a mine. The other coal miner works 8 feet above the ground operating machinery. So what I did quickly is I drew the ground, and to me the ground is 0. And the first person is 400, not 800, 405 feet below. Because it is below ground, I'm going to say it's -405 feet. So that's -405 feet. Now, the other worker is 8 feet above ground. Because it said above, that tells me it's positive, and that is 8 feet above. So make sure we answer the question. The first question, write an integer for each position of the worker in comparison to the ground. So what we'll do is we'll go over here, and we're going to say the first person is -405, and the second person is 8. The next question says, find the absolute value of each. Okay. It wants us to find the absolute value. There are some students who write this as their answer, and that's incorrect, because this is like writing a question. This is saying, what is the absolute value of -405? What they want us to do is solve this. So we have to solve the absolute value of -405. So the absolute value of -405 is 405. It's 405 spots away from 0. So this is what we write, 405. That's our answer. And the absolute value of 8, is 8. It's 8 spots away from 0. Equals 8. There, that's better. Okay, last question. Which worker was farther from the ground surface? So if we look here, this worker is only 8 feet away, and this worker is 405 feet away. So I'm going to say that it was the the negative 405 worker, or some people say the first worker. All right, I hope that helped. And yeah, this should help you prepare for the quiz. Take care.